Hello, Domo Nation. I'm Eric Green, the CEO of ReadySignal, a data as a service company, but we'll talk more about that later. I'm joined by my partner and our senior data officer, Jess Brown. She's the real brains behind the operation. Thank you for hosting us. We're very excited to be part of Domo Palooza. At ReadySignal, we've automated via 2 million plus lines of code the process of aggregating, normalizing, and applying data science treatments to control data. Our data sets include economic, weather, healthcare, and demographic data. We continue to build that library day in and day out. Our value proposition to our users is really fourfold. We source the data, we normalize the data for different time and geographic granularities, we curate the data with data science treatments, and we simplify the data ingestion process. And in this particular case, we'll be showing you how we do that with Domo Data Connector. We do all this in an effort to enhance the predictability of forecasting models. Working with and integrating with Domo, we're able to provide real business solutions to our clients. One of our clients, the jewelry store, is a 3-store metropolitan Detroit luxury jeweler. They're interested in expanding their business regionally, and they've asked us 2 very obvious questions. When should we expand, and where should we expand? In the past, the jewelry store relied primarily on more traditional modeling techniques and their intuition given their years of experience in the industry. We've introduced them to Domo's AutoML platform in an effort to automate the predictability of their profitability and sales forecasts. I'd like to ask Jess to please share the initial models we built on their behalf.
Thanks, Eric. So the jewelry store provided us with data surrounding sales, profitability, margins, and unit price. And we decided to focus on profitability as our target variable here. So we ran the jewelry store data through Domo's AutoML feature, and we're able to predict profitability for future months and years in this business. And this model is actually fairly predictive, but we thought that we might be able to improve the accuracy of it when adding in control data, like economic trends, demographic data, and things like that. Eric, would you like to take us through how we were able to easily and efficiently add this data into our data set?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jess. As mentioned before, ReadySignal is a software and data platform that aggregates control data on behalf of our users. In the jewelry store's example, we wanted to find data sets, economic, demographic, that would most closely correlate to their business to help us improve the predictability of the model. We call these signals. The particular one we built for the jewelry store includes economic data such as retail sales, TED interest rate spreads. We build this signal, and the output of that signal can come in many fashions. You can download that data to Excel, CSV, or in this particular case, we'd like to use the Domo Data Connector to allow the data that's in the ReadySignal platform to get into Jess's models. And we do that very simply. At the Domo App Store, we have a third-party data connector that we've built that allows the ingestion of the data right into Jess's models. So Jess, once we created that signal and we connected it to the Domo data platform, I think you're going to show the data workflow, correct?
Absolutely. So here you see we were able to use the Domo ReadySignal data connector and use Eric's signal to join to our jewelry store sales data. Here we've finally come up with a final data set to plug into our AutoML, and we add in all of the features that Eric had in that signal, as well as some online search trends. And with this, we were able to see actually a nearly 50% reduction in the root mean squared error. This makes us much more confident in the predictability of the model, and we will use this moving forward to help predict when the jewelry store should open up their new location. Eric, this answers the question of when the jewelry store should open up their new location. Now we need to move to where.
Absolutely. And relying on these very same data sets that are closely correlated with the profitability of the jewelry store's business, we can find similar communities to the existing stores that the jewelry store has to find that next best location. Jess, would you care to share some of the Jupyter workspaces that you've built?
Sure thing. So we used a type of modeling called propensity modeling to figure out which locations, which communities are most similar to the current locations of the jewelry store. And we were able to easily pull this initial data set in to our Domo Jupyter workspace, apply some transformations, and run the data set through the propensity modeling code. And that made it easy for us to export into another data set. We were then able to create a dashboard, a type of control center for the jewelry store business owners to monitor current economic trends and figure out where to open up their new jewelry store location. We conferred with the client as well as our data team to determine that this 112% increase in profitability year over year is the correct time to open up a new location. Here we see the results from our Auto ML, and we're looking at the forecasted profitability for the jewelry store moving forward. We also have to take into account seasonality, and as you can see, there is an obvious spike towards the end of the year, likely holiday sales. So we determined that the jewelry store, if they were to open up a new location prior to this spike, they should be fully functional and operational and ready to go by the time it hits November. The jewelry store owners can also monitor the economic trends that we determined impacted their business. Consumer sentiment, consumer sales, and it's cool. You can see actually the dip here where the pandemic actually first hit and was at its peak. And you can see that the economic trends are rebounding. So this covers the when. Now we look to where. And the propensity modeling results show us all of these different zip codes. We were able to analyze most of the zip codes within this 4-state radius of where the current jewelry store locations are, and narrowed down to the top 11 results. These are the most optimal locations for the jewelry store to open up their new location. So if they want to see profitability similar to one of their current locations, they should open up their new location in one of these 11 spots. So beyond where to open up a new store, we are also concerned about the competitive landscape of this business. In addition to these 11 top locations, we wanted to look at the competitive landscape of these 4 states, and we mapped the similar zip codes that we determined to their distance from the nearest Rolex dealer. We chose Rolex dealers because a big point of sale for the jewelry store are Rolex watches. And we believe that Rolex dealers are good indicators of where other competitive businesses may be. And you might see around Chicago, there are a lot of Rolex dealers. And that may indicate that a lot of customers exist in that area, but it may not be the best place to open up a store due to all the competition already there. So you might see a Fort Wayne or a Dayton, Ohio be a much more optimal location for this new store. So in summary, we narrowed it down from over 4,000 zip codes to 11. And these 11 zip codes are the most similar communities to pre-existing jewelry store locations. So our recommendation to the jewelry store is if they're going to open up a new location, it should be in Dayton, Ohio. Now, Eric, would you like to give any more closing statements?
Yes, thank you. Jess, you're remarkable. I told you she's the brains behind the operation. But in summary, we were charged with helping the jewelry store expand their business. With the combination of Domo's Auto ML platform and Ready Signal's curated control data sets, we were able to create a predictive model that solved the 2 primary questions that any business owner would ask: when and where to expand. This type of analysis is very repeatable across industries and businesses, given the vast amounts of data that we have in the Ready Signal platform and the ease with which we can be integrated into Domo's platform. Effectively, what we did with Domo's Auto ML tools and Ready Signal's controlled data sets is we translated business intuition to empirical evidence to simply answer where and when to grow a business. Thank you for the time today and the opportunity to participate in Domo Palooza.